This is the fourth week. We've done each of the 3 videos. And now we want to really talk about how do we move to actually getting business, okay? So what I'm going to do, if it's all right, is I'm just going to start off with a quick recap and kind of look at how it flows. And then we'll talk about some of the things that you can do within this system or outside the system using what we've done within this system. So we start off with the 3x3 grid. So it's the awareness phase, which is the 3 why videos, the engagement stage, which is the 3 how videos, and then the conversion stage, which is the 3 what videos. Now, we've been running these and in sequence, okay? So the first sequence, it's not, that's interesting. There it goes, okay. All right, so the first thing is we show the first row of videos. Once somebody has watched the first row of videos, we then show them the other 2 videos on the first row and the 3 on the second row. Once they've seen one of the ones on the second row, we then show them to the 2 other ones on the second row. We're no longer showing them the ones on the first row. So we show them the 2 on the second row and the 3 on the third row. And then once they've watched the third row, we're now in the process of trying to convert them, okay?
Okay.
So that's the steps. Oh, Gail, Grayson, Gail says the link we sent today is broken. You know what that means?
No, I'll check it.
Okay, but that came from Gail, okay? All right.
Hi, Gail. Thank you for that.
So does this make sense to everybody, the sequence we're going through?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we're going to show the results from the Y campaign. This is again using Josh Walton, whose website's For Anything. You notice on his first row of videos, there's just the numbers for that. And he's just going through this. So you'll see that it dropped down. He has had 105,000, well, he's had 71,000 people see his ad. That's been a total of 23,000 people, which means that, oh, actually, these are through plays. I take it back. So 71,000 through plays seen by a total of 23 people. What just happened? I'm totally confused. Yeah, okay. This is the screen. It jumped for some reason. Okay, and so it's been run through 71,000 to 23,000 people. So that means that most of these people have seen have seen 3 videos of his. Okay. That is a lot of people that have been exposed to his brand, to what he does. That is costing 2 cents a result, so 2 cents a through play. And the total price of all of that has been just under $1,500. Now that's been over a couple of months for him, or 5-6 weeks. And the biggest one, you know, is the Uncle Jack video has clearly outperformed the other 3. All right, as far as total views. Okay, so we now have marked all these people. So we now have, and Grayson, you know the technical part of this a lot better than I do. So if I say something wrong, correct me, okay? But we have 23,394 people that is actually reached, and we can actually now mark them with a pixel so we can remarket to them. All right, so now we go to the how, which is the second video. Now, the numbers have dropped dramatically here because remember, these are only being shown to people that have already seen the live videos. So there's been 1,700 through plays. It's reached 243 people. So in other words, out of the 23,000 people that have seen the first one that we reached in the first one, we've now reached 243 of them with our second video. All right. And you notice the spend has dropped dramatically. We've only spent $67 to do that, but these people, as I say, have actually seen us in at least 2 videos now, which means, you know, we should be making a connection with them. Any questions about these numbers?
I'm just curious, the 243 people, it's because some of those people watched the same video. So there's only 243 unique people then.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, now this number will go up over time, but at this point, it's only 243 people, and you'll see how much it drops on the next one, okay?
Right, and Art, is this kind of the decrease that you would expect? Because this is like 1% of the, compared to the first video?
That is correct, because take a look here. He is first showing the first video to everyone in the Fredericksburg metropolitan area, which comes out to about 300,000 people. All right. The second group, he's only serving up those ads. Well, first of all, he has not been serving up as long because we only start serving them after they've seen the first video. So we may have been serving them for a week before person A actually clicked on it and watched it, okay? Once they clicked on it and watched it, they now get put into a group where they get shown the second set of ads. So so the first one is 300,000 people that are possible. And the second one, it's only the people that have clicked on it. So we dropped the group from 300,000 down to 23,000 people. So we're only showing it to less than 10% of who we were showing the first one to. And we've only been showing that for a much shorter period of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was just kind of taking back how much that decline is.
Right.
Can I throw something in, Art?
Sure.
Excuse me. Because I feel like it's important here to note that don't focus on the drop in number. Focus on how awesome it is that you only spent $67 to reach 243 people that were interested enough to click through and watch the entire video and are hungry for more.
A second video.
A second video. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, they watched the second video. So not only do they get through their interest, now they're getting to know him. So it's a really small price to get that many people that interested in you and your business.
Yeah, that's true.
In Art,
Go ahead.
you say short period of time. What that means?
This has been running about 3 weeks. This second set of videos have been running about 3 weeks.
How
Okay.
long did the first set run for?
About 5 weeks.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions about this so far? We're obviously going to go to the third one in a second, which has only been running about a week. So, so you're going to see the number drop dramatically because the first set of ads was being served to like 300,000 people. The second set of ads, which is what we're looking here, was only served up to 23,000 people. The next set of ads, how many people are they going to be served up to?
243.
243, exactly. So here we are on the second set of ads, okay? Oh, wait a second, no. Yeah, there we go, okay? So we've only had 4 people have watched this, and we've only had 34 people that have been shown it, okay? Now, obviously, these numbers will go up over time. Now, still think about this, though. it's costing 13 cents to have people watch your third video in a series. So if they're not interested, they haven't clicked on the second one, they haven't clicked on the third one. Does that make, because they know the first one, they didn't know what it was, so they clicked on it. The second one, though, they already knew who you were and what you did. So there's some level of interest that gets them to click on the second video of yours. Now they're clicking on a third video of yours. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Right.
would you recommend 4 to 5 weeks for the first video, 3 to 4 for the second, and 3 to 4 for the third, or what's the rule of thumb? Is there any?
No. A lot of it is how fast you can do it, because the process is the same. So I'd get them up as quickly as possible, to be blunt. Okay? Because they start going through the process. The problem is you have to actually shoot the videos. You have to be happy with them. You have to put them up. You then have to set up the ad groups, and then you have to start running them, if that makes sense. And so what controlled Josh was how much free time he had to do this. We obviously would have more results at this level, at this point, if he had gotten them up faster. Okay? If you can all do it in a day, that's wonderful, because they're still going to go through the same sequence regardless of when you post them, because you're only letting the people see the second video who saw the first video. That answer that question?
Yes, thank you.
All right. All right. Now, if we keep doing this, obviously this will start generating some interest, because literally they've watched 3 different types of videos. They may have watched multiple, by the way. We know from the first slide that there were people who watched 2 or 3 of the different videos, but they watched at least one of them at that level. And now we're filtering down to the ones that have now gone through all 3 levels of the videos. Over time, clearly these people are going to have some knowledge of you and some interest. But we've also done something else, and Grayson and Chattery are much better at this than I am. We've also created audiences, which means we can now, just to go back to this one, we now can literally run ads to 23,394 people that have watched a video of ours. So we can write specific ads that's only shown to them. Does that make sense?
Not only that, but we would include people that just liked it and shared it. You know, that would
Right.
also, or made a comment. They didn't watch the whole thing, but they, you know, whatever. You get what I'm going.
Right. Which means we're creating a very fertile ground for Facebook advertising. Normally we're Facebook advertising to a cold audience, and you know, and they work. But now we're doing Facebook ads to a warm audience, which will work a lot better. Has anyone done any Facebook advertising? And I want to say Facebook advertising is different than Facebook boosting.
No. I don't know.
Okay. This is kind of funny. Please forgive me. I'm supposed to be teaching this course. I'm not supposed to be looking at my phone. But literally while we're talking, I got a text from Nick Bonadies, who is a NARI member. He does exteriors. He was texting me to say that he sold a roof last night to a lead that came through a Facebook advertising program we're running for him. Okay. He's excited. That's why he texted. Facebook advertising works. It is extremely difficult to get it working properly. You have to get the messaging right. You have to get the audience right. You have to not be shut down by Facebook, because they shut you down because you blinked your left eye, not your right eye. I think that was one of the, Chattery, wasn't that one of the reasons they shut us down one time?
Because why? What are some of the reasons they would shut you down?
I was teasing
Yes.
that I blinked my left eye instead of my right eye.
Well,
Kind of like that.
I figured you were teasing, but what are some of the like real life examples? Kristen?
Okay, well, first of all, let me tell you the sequence that it went in for us, okay? They have a whole policy thing, okay, that you have to follow. And we'll get into specific reasons in a second. But here's the sequence we literally went through. We read the policy, designed a whole setup based on the policies. We then have a consultant that we use who does a few $1 million a month on Facebook. So, I mean, he knows more than we know, okay? And he charges for it, by the way. But we then showed it to him to make sure that we were within policy, right? So we're being really careful here. We start running it, they shut us down because they have bots that go through it and they say, we have broken a policy. So then we appeal it for a manual check because we say we don't believe we broke a policy. So they then manually check it and come back and go, oh, you're right, you broke no policies, it's fine, we'll turn it back on. So they turn it back on. An hour later, they shut us down for breaking policies. Okay, we challenge it based on the fact that we don't believe we're breaking any policies. And remember, this is after we've literally spent 5 days reading their policy and setting up the ads to fit their policy and then showing it to a guy who does several $1 million a month in Facebook ads to see if he agrees. They've already reviewed it once manually and have told us that we're not breaking any policies. And now they've shut us down a second time for breaking policies. So we appeal it. And guess what they do when they manually check it? Oh, you didn't break any policies. We've turned it back on.
And I'll add that it seemed to happen every time we received a lead. Like we get a lead, they'd shut us off. An hour later, they turn it back on. And we get a lead or two, and boom, they cut us off. It's ridiculous.
And not only that, but because they run an algorithm, once they've shut you off and they turn you back on, it takes about 6 hours for them to start serving ads again because it's gathering the information to start running it again, okay? I mean, they do it at a few pennies an hour, enough to gather enough data for the algorithm to figure out who to be serving it to, and then they start expanding it. So we're talking about a huge amount of wasted time. And I don't know if Chattery is able to speak or not at this point, but he was running that for us. I believe they did that to us 9 times in 3 days. Chattery, does that sound about right? I don't care if it's exact, but is that about
I think
right?
about 7 to 8 times.
Okay, in a 3-day period, okay?
Yes.
That's terrible. Just because you got leads?
Well, because their bots was picking up that we were doing something wrong. Now, as far as what we were doing wrong, not what we were doing wrong, but as far as what they'd think was wrong, was, as an example, if you say, I'm just going to pick something with roofing, okay? Just because that was it. If we had said, you save 30% on your energy costs with a new roof, all right? We're making a claim. But say we didn't put an asterisk and say that was according to Green Star Energy Solutions. Okay, we're not giving any credit for that claim. We're just making it. They'd shut you down for that. Okay, that if you're going to make a claim, you have to substantiate the claim somehow. Okay. Let's say you're selling a weight loss program, and you say you're going to lose weight if you do this. First of all, that's an unsubstantiated claim unless you can substantiate it some way. But then say you include a before and after picture. They go, well, that's personal. You're body shaming somebody, so we're going to disallow that ad. All right. If they think it's political in nature, they have a whole separate set of guidelines after the 2016 debacle with Cambridge Analytica and stuff. Okay. So if they think it's a campaign issue at all, even if you're not talking Democrat and Republican, if you're just like, if you're talking about the COVID-19 shutdowns, they could say, oh, well, that's political because people are upset with Trump or people are upset with the Democrats for not supporting Trump or whatever, they could think that was political. So that's another reason they would shut you down. Chattering and Grayson, help me out here. What are some other reasons they'd shut you down?
Well, if you don't have a clear privacy policy on the website you're linking to, number one. Number two would be the relevance of the landing page to the actual ad. So the quality of the delivery of the ad, people are looking for a specific thing. So they click on that thing. The destination has to be about that thing, not anything else. They prefer you to have very simple landing pages. In response to COVID, I actually had a couple of personal posts removed from that algorithm because I bought like 2,000 meters of elastic and I was giving it to my friends that were making masks. And I put a post out about, did anybody need elastic? Because if they were making masks, they pulled that because you're not supposed to be talking about PPE supplies. It's just arbitrary. And then it's ambiguous because they say, well, you violated a policy. Well, we read the policy. Tell me what I violated. Well, you violated the policy. Go read the manual.
Yeah, it's not our job to tell you which you broke. We give you a policy manual. It's your job to read it and oblige, and perform to it, conform to the policy.
Yeah,
policy
you still had to tell them that you weren't violating, and then they had to review and allow it to be on again.
Correct.
And meanwhile, your ads aren't running.
Right.
And even after they get turned back on, they're not running at the normal pace because they have to reset the algorithm. I'll tell you right now, if you ever see a news feed that says crazed gunman attacks Facebook headquarters, you don't even need to check. It's Grayson.
Well, no, it's not fair. They do. I've heard a lot of this about Facebook. They do arbitrary cutoffs, and that doesn't make sense anyway. You were just talking about you should be free to say that you were offering the fabric for the masks, for the protective gear. So the fact that you can't even say that, I mean, is this a free country? Yeah. So it's weird.
Yeah.
Well, yes, except I will say, okay, now we're getting into politics.
Hold on, I want to finish my thought if you don't mind.
Yeah.
On the banning, that don't be discouraged by this. Be encouraged by it. And the reason is that A, it really means that they're trying hard to make the ads relevant, so the scammers and stuff are staying away. And B, if you persist at it and once you really get it down, the probability you get a lead goes up because it fits the model they know gets leads. They really don't want ads and stuff showing that you're going to actually get business off of, because then you're going to continue to advertise. So the more you dial it in and try to fit in their policies, the better off and more quality leads and the more leads you'll have.
Right. I mean, it gets to the point where literally we have clients that they can tell us we want 20 appointments next week and we can get them 20 appointments. Okay. We have one client, well, that one was Nick, who he adds new salespeople, and he calls up and goes, okay, Art, we're adding 2 new salespeople next week, so we need an extra 20 appointments. We go, okay. I mean, that's what can happen if you get this figured out. Okay. But as I say, you might make the news for storming Facebook in the process. It's just the way it goes. What I was going to say is free speech is actually one of the most misunderstood rights we have as Americans. Free speech does not guarantee that you can say whatever you want without ramification. It's that you can say what you want without the federal government arresting you.
Right. And this is the private company that's choosing and selecting what things they say are false or not false or everything like that, which gets into politics. So
which they have the legal right to do.
Yeah. Additionally, when you sign up for a Facebook account, you agree to the terms and conditions.
Exactly.
Yeah, hardly enforceable as it is. However, those terms and conditions state they can use your info, they can send you targeted, they can ban you in an instant for no apparent reason. It's not a right to work state.
That's right. I know.
Which goes back to one of my original points that I've always made with anybody. people say monopolies are a bad thing. And that's only been said by people who didn't own a monopoly. Okay, this is a perfect example why if you own a monopoly, monopolies are just wonderful. Because in this type of advertising, Facebook is close to a monopoly. And so everybody who uses Facebook for advertising hates interacting with them, but they put up with it because they have no choice. Fact is, there are other places to advertise, but no other place has the level of volume and the market share that Facebook has. Just doesn't. Okay. All right. That being said, and so what we've done is we've actually gathered up a really useful audience. And do people know what I mean by an audience? Have we explained that well enough or not? Help me
Yeah,
out
whoever
here.
you're targeting in your advertising, right?
Right. And you can gather that up over time. And it's just an extremely powerful way of focusing on people. Like, I don't know, I'm just going to pick on, well, is this, Gail, is it you that I've been talking to?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. So just as an example, do you have a list of clients?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people are on that list of clients?
Thousands from over the
Okay.
years. Ted's been in business over 20 years, so.
Okay. So, and again, I'm going to ask Grayson and Chattery to jump in here. Okay. But do you know that you can go into Facebook, download that email list into Facebook and have a lookalike audience created that will only show your ads to people that are similar to those people that you just downloaded?
As in download them, and what are you talking about? Demographics, geographics,
No,
psychographics?
the email addresses.
Just
No,
the
let me
email?
let me explain.
Well,
you go into your Facebook. Go ahead.
No. Go
You're
ahead.
uploading the email list into Facebook, not downloading it. Okay, so you go to Facebook Business Manager and you go create an audience based on an email list, and you're going to upload a CSV file with name and email into Facebook, and it'll create an audience. If that email address matches a Facebook account, it'll put it in a bucket. So then you take that bucket and you tell Facebook to create a larger audience that has similar interests and profiles to people in the bucket. Okay, so you take your clients and then you take your 1,000 clients and you go find 100,000 people that have similar interests, and now you're advertising to them.
Interesting. No, I didn't know that, but honestly, I'm not the one that handles, it's our son who's the expert and the whiz on this type of thing. So I'm curious to see if he knows that. I don't know if that's something new, but you know how they're always doing new things with Facebook advertising and whatnot. But is that a new thing, or has that been around?
It's been there
around for quite a while.
You can also do people that visited your website, the people that watched your videos, any of that stuff can be pixeled. And then you can do a lot with that. Once you've got a pixeled audience put together, you can create a lookalike audience for a general broad area, and it'll greatly expand the audience with the type of people that you really want to be in front of.
Interesting.
And you know you want to be in front of them because those are people that already bought from you.
Right. I think he knows that aspect of what you're saying, but I don't know. I'm going to ask him whether he knows about, I'm just noted what you said about the lookalike audience creation. It's interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. I'll just give you an idea. We started a program for a painter down in Raleigh. And I may have these numbers a little off because I didn't pull them out before this meeting. But just to give you a general concept, we started off, well, our deal with him was that he would pay us $110 for every appointment that was set. Okay, so he wasn't paying for leads, he wasn't paying for anything unless an actual appointment was set. Okay, which means our profit comes in being able to bring in leads and set appointments for a lower price than he's paying us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now this works out, it's a pretty good system for everybody because he has a fixed cost. He's only going to pay X amount for an appointment. Doesn't pay anything. No upfront costs, no nothing, unless he gets an appointment. It's a pretty good deal for us because, you know, theoretically we could make $109 per appointment if we got good enough. Now, I wish we did that, if you know what I'm saying, but he'd be thrilled for us to make $109 per appointment because he's still getting his appointment at a very low price in comparison to what he was paying other ways, okay? Now, when we started off, we were losing about $70 per appointment. But through improvements through the whole thing, we're now making money on those appointments, okay? But it was a painful process to get there. It started off that we had to pay upfront costs for all the graphics, for the copywriting, for the, you know, for every step, you know, the emails that we did and follow-ups, we have to pay for all of that upfront. And we only make it back if we end up getting him business, or not business, but appointments for less than we're paying for those appointments. All right. But that being said, it is amazing how when you do this every day, which is why we pay so much money to the consultant that we use that's doing about $5 million a month in Facebook ads, is why we pay him, you know, 6 figures a month to have his consulting, because he has more information than we can have. Even if we're as smart as him, even if we are better at analyzing than him, he just has so much more data than us. And I mean, it's just an interesting thing. People think knowing this stuff is enough. It's not. Okay? You need the data to also do it. Does that make sense? And the fact that Grayson and Chattery and I, let's leave me out of it because I actually know very little of the technical side of it. Forget that Grayson and Chattery know how to do it and what to look at and what's possible within Facebook. Their level of knowledge is so small in comparison to the consultant we pay 7 figures to every month, because he just has more data than they have. Grayson, is that a fair statement to make?
Well, he makes 6 figures a month. We don't pay him 6 figures a month, but yes.
Well,
You're saying because
no,
he has.
4. I pay him 4 figures a month. That's right.
Yeah,
I pay him 4
not
figures
6.
a month.
You're saying
Not 6.
because the reason is, and I understand in theory that that's all he does, apparently. He's a Facebook marketing whiz, so he's turned himself into a consultant. But you're saying just because he lives and breathes it 24/7, that he's like more knowledgeable than, for example, Grayson and Chowder.
Oh yeah, there's no question.
Yeah.
That's why
But it's
people
not
pay
just-
him big bucks for his
Yeah.
advice and stuff, because he knows it so well.
Yeah, I mean, I
That
paid him.
you pay this money to him, and you're turned into somebody that can do it.
Yeah, I paid him $2,200 last month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'll tell you, Grayson and Chattery know what they're doing. I did not pay him for knowledge of how to do it. I paid him for the nuances. And if that makes any sense, I paid him because he has not just the knowledge. See the way, and Gail, I'm just clarifying here. You said because he does it as his only thing, he does it all the time. That's not actually the only reason. The reason he has a $5 million Facebook spend to gather data to analyze it is not just that he's doing it all the time. If Grayson only did our Facebook work, if that's all he did, he would not know as much as Dan. Because we're not buying $5 million worth of Facebook advertising in a month. So we don't have that amount of data to analyze.
Yeah, and we don't have a data scientist to do the analytics either.
Right.
I mean, I'm
Right.
certified with it, but
Right. Grayson, you said you're certified in it? Is that what you said?
I'm a analytics. What's the certification? Something. It has to do with data analytics, like Google Analytics stuff.
Mhm.
I'll find it. I'll remember
Yeah.
the exact.
But
No,
yeah,
part of the
I-
digital marketer.
Yeah, I was just asking because I'm actually
Yeah.
a data scientist myself, but that's why I was wondering what kind of data does he have access to that the normal person doesn't? You're just saying
$5 million worth of ad buy.
because
So
he pays Facebook because he has all these clients that he pays, and therefore he captures data, or he's just working in it, or
Yeah, well, see all this data I have on the screen right now?
Yeah.
This is based on a spend of $1,400.
right.
He's looking at a screen like this based on $5 million.
Hmm.
It's just better data. I mean, as you know, as a data person, one of the things about data is it only becomes useful when it's big enough. That's why they call it big data. Small data can have a lot of unique things in it. It's like flipping a coin. Just because it heads up heads 50% of the time doesn't mean you won't get heads 10 times in a row.
Right. And it really only means anything, not just if you have it, but if you analyze it and put it into an interpretable form for someone to review and to understand. So
That is correct. And that's what he has. He has two master level
Mhm.
mathematical, analyzers who are on his staff analyzing the $5 million spend every single month.
Yeah. So,
And this is
so
why-
in comparison to my son, who happens, he got his degree in all this, but the fact is that he knows a little bit about a lot of things, and this guy probably knows a lot about this one thing. And if he doesn't, he has people on staff that does. So I
Right.
guess that's a big benefit for
That's
you
right.
to use them too.
That is correct. That's why we make money. See, most small companies could not afford to pay $2,200 a month for someone
Right.
who's okay. But we spread that cost out among 30, 40 clients.
Right. Got
Okay.
it.
I mean, it's one of the reasons that we're always confident that we can do a better job for people than themselves. It's not that they're not as smart. It's not that couldn't be as good. It's just that they don't have access to the same information that a company like ours has, because we're paying, well, first of all, because we're doing it for multiple people. So we have a lot more information than like your son would have just by our own buy. But
Right.
then we're buying for enough people that we can go out and pay $2,200 to this other guy who's doing it for even more people.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
A
And
question.
Yes.
Art, on the chart with the different data columns, there's the 3-second video play, and then there's video percentage watched, video average play time, unique 2-second continuous, and then the final one, and then the through plays. When
Yeah.
making these ads, which of those benchmarks or which of those metrics is the most important? I guess it's the 3-second video plays. You want them to, if they stay 3 seconds, there's a 70% chance that they're going to play all the way through.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to say the most important one, it changes by which video you're talking about, because you're trying to accomplish different things.
Right.
In the wide video, I want them to watch a portion of it. Okay. Because I want them to be able to decide if they're interested or not. So the 3-second becomes really important, because that means they started watching it, they can decide if they want to stay or not.
I think there's another set of analytics on the next page, and I think the next slide has the second half of that screen, because there's more analytics in terms of we want them to watch 75%.
Yeah,
And
and
I
I'll
get-
show that in a moment, but I will say each one of these screens actually have drop downs where you can pick to be shown different things. So there's like 30 or 40 different numbers you can actually look at. We're just looking at specific
Okay.
ones. I'm sorry, Gail, you was, I think, trying to say
Well,
something.
I was just going to ask, or, following up on what Alex asked, that really isn't the most important column not here. And it's based on, if you're doing this for just branding yourself, and that's one thing, then you can see, how many people you reached and all that. But if you're doing it for call to action, then you'd have to know the final video, the what video of who actually clicked to take action, and then also who converted into an actual appointment, and also who actually signed a contract, because then that would be your actual, true, measure of did this work? Because who cares if you spent all this money or had all those people look at it if they're not actually your clients that are going to do business with you, unless you're just doing a branding campaign.
Which is why I said what number's most important changes by which video it is. The why videos, we're trying to accomplish something different than in the what videos, and the what in the how videos. The why videos, we're trying to accomplish something different than the how videos. The how videos, we're trying to accomplish something different than the what videos, if you know what I'm saying.
I have another.
Since we're trying to accomplish different things, what's most important changes by what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
Right.
But on a larger scale, the 88,265 people that watch at least 3 seconds of video, they've been put in an audience bucket. So then we can use a lookalike audience to create an audience of 800,000 people that have the same interests as the people that watched our video at least 3 seconds. So we could take people that watch the video 75% of the way or 100% of the way and make a lookalike video on that, a lookalike audience on that. And that gives us a lot more people that are more likely to do it, that we can advertise directly to them. So it is a little bit that those numbers, like Art said, the number you want is based on what you want to do. I would look at it as how many people did 75% of you. We can make a lookalike audience there and now start showing the original videos in remarketing to them and try to get them through the process.
Right.
Is
And I
there
want to add,
notes
you
version?
only get through the gate to be shown you only get shown the how videos, which is the second video. We have it set that you only go to that gate if you watch 75% of the why video. Because if you didn't watch at least 75%, you don't know Josh's why. Thus, the how is irrelevant. Okay?
Yeah, right. Yeah, so this is the Facebook funnel of how to filter a prospect or a suspect to a prospect to a possible client, leads, bids, sales. You start that off with suspect, prospect, lead, bid, sale. Is there a Cliff Note version of the best practices of what to say or what not to say that we should know about as Facebook advertising amateurs, such as myself anyway, in terms of, I don't want to spend, a day and a half trying to do the next video only to find out, oh no, that's a bad idea. Facebook's going to DQ that and you got to do something different. So is there any kind of a outline or guideline or anything
Inside, as far as if Facebook's going to ban you or not, that is inside, I think it's called the Facebook Blueprint. Grayson Chattery, is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
The Facebook Blueprint.
Okay, so there's something actually in your ad manager which you can click on, which will show you the Facebook Blueprint, which I believe is a series of 12 different trainings that will train you, and each one I think takes about 2 hours to do. So there's about 24 hours training, and I have not actually gone through this. And you only need 3 to be certified, by the way. But there's 12 different trainings that each take about 2 hours to learn all the things that they will shut you down for. Then they'll shut you down anyway, and you'll have to challenge them. But that's a different issue.
Yeah. Would
Okay,
you
but yeah.
recommend that it's worth it for us to do that, or to just
Alex,
go for it and
Can I have a little fun with you on this one?
oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So my wife wants a new kitchen. So let me ask you, should I go to a trade school and learn how to do cabinets and flooring and plumbing and electricity and give her a new kitchen, or should I call a NARI remodeler?
Right.
Or
You
better
should-
yet, Alex, I'm going to have even more fun.
Yeah.
Alex, is there like a quick Cliff Notes guide so that I can do my own kitchen? Could you just give me a 10-page manual on what I need to do?
Well,
Right.
you know,
Think about
there is, Grayson, but I'm sorry. The answer is confidential and will be banned from the internet.
Yeah, you're fresh out of copies. I heard. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a whole taken social media manager course and things like that, and each one is just a whole rabbit hole. So really, it's true. You can't be all things to all roles in your company, and you are the business owner. So, you know, Ted's not sitting here, I'm sitting here, but even then I'm the head of the marketing department, but I don't do all these things. Like you wouldn't be able to run your business if you were to get down in the mire. So
Right.
that's why
Yeah.
Art's here
All right,
and
let me ask you.
Grayson and, you know, to hire them. But so
And then I go out and pay $2,200 a month
right.
to someone else
Yeah.
just to guide us.
But I do.
Well, and the other thing is, Gail, a lot of the effort that companies spend on doing social media
Mhm.
is spent in the wrong place.
Right.
You know, you're going out trying to have this big Facebook page and this big following and whatever, but your posts rarely get seen. And the only way you really reach the right people is by creating the audiences that are granularly targeted to them and showing them ads that brings them in and converts them, and spending the money to do so. I mean, that's where you have to start. Now, once you've got that up and running and you're bringing in leads, then maybe you go and you start focus on building the social aspect of the business, where you're doing stuff for the community and using social media as a vehicle to promote you helping people, which gives you awareness, right? But
Right.
so many
And credibility.
businesses, in my opinion, and Art may change me on this, but they waste their time trying to come up with creative and clever posts when you're on a shoestring. You've got to do it smart, and you're better off just paying somebody to do advertising for you.
Yeah, you have to decide what result you're looking for and how quickly. Okay.
Right. And the problem is, as a business owner, though, even as a marketing person working for the company, we're bombarded. Like, I'm sure, Alex, you're bombarded with all kinds of companies saying, I can do this for you online. I can do that for you. I can do this for you on YouTube or Facebook or
Yeah.
whatever. And the thing is, lots of those are scams, you know, and not true companies. Lots of them are from who knows where in the world, and they're not
Right.
whatever. So that's the problem we face as business owners, you know, making sure that whoever you're spending money on to your social media is not just a, you know, inexperienced company, or is, you know, not a true company, or they're not even experts in it or whatever. So that's the problem. That's the thing that we face as, you know, marketing people or a business owner, that, you know, Art
Yeah,
and
social-
Grayson, we don't, you know, we have people all the time approaching saying, oh, I can do this for you. I can do that for you. So that's
Absolutely.
the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, let me just say, just because I think empathy is a good thing, okay? Just imagine if, in fact, you do want to put a new kitchen in. You're being asked to hire a remodeler,
Hmm.
and you have no training on how to pick one out. You know, think
Mhm.
about that.
Right.
It literally, and that's the same situation you're in. That is why, you know, one of the first NARI meetings I went to, I remember, and I don't remember who it was because I was new, I didn't know anybody. I remember someone saying, oh yeah, you know, I went and talked to these people, they had hired someone and they ripped out the kitchen and then they disappeared, they never came back, and, you know, the person wasn't, wasn't licensed, the person, you know, they was just really stupid for them to hire the person, and that's what they get for hiring someone like that, okay? And what hit me was, first of all, how I have a similar reaction when I hear someone say, oh yeah, I've spent thousands of dollars on digital marketing and I've gotten no results. And I go, well, why did you hire someone like that, in my head, okay? But then the other thing that went into my head too is, how did the people know they were supposed to hire someone who was a NARI member or at least another national organization? How do they know to ask for, no one ever trained them to do that. They literally were sent out to hire somebody that they had no training to hire. And it's a tough position.
Yep. So can I ask a quick question back to what Grace said about the 80-some thousand of, for example, you could expand that to 800,000 because you have 80-some thousand people. It wasn't this slide, it was
Right.
the ones before.
Yeah.
But so my question is, why would you necessarily want to expand that? Because just because those 85,000 looked at the Y videos doesn't mean that they're really even your audience. I would think you'd only want to expand the ones that are like the how or the what, because those are further people that really are more your true audience. Would you?
Art can go there. Go ahead, Art.
Yeah, this is a philosophical, this isn't a technical question. This is a philosophical question. Here's the reason. It's the best data that we have a lot of data on. These people at least had an interest in what Josh was saying. We don't have, if we go on to the next level, we don't have a lot of people at the next level yet. And so we're back to doing the best thing we can do. And right now, that information right there is the best that we have. It's the one that we have enough data to have it be relevant. But you are 100% correct, which is why, Gail, I asked you if you had a mailing list of people that have actually been clients of yours. Because now we actually have a big enough data point to get some impact.
Got it.
Okay, so in other words, I definitely would do what Grayson said about this at this point. But in a month, when we have 23,000 at this level, be doing this one instead. Another 3 months down the road, when I had this level big enough, I'll be using this one. And then when I had enough clients that I could use that, I'd use that one.
You know, Gail, I'll tell you another thing. You started out with an audience that was just basically everybody, and you showed it to 100,000 people. All right, 88,000 responded in some way. So now you can go back out past 100,000 to people that are more interested, right? And then like Art said, it's layers. You want to expand as big as you can, but if you're going to do an 8 times bigger pool, you want to make sure that there's enough fish in there for you to catch some.
Got it.
One of the things that happen also, Gail, is if your pool is too small, then Facebook will literally go, my algorithm can't work with this smaller database. So we're just going to serve it to anybody, and too bad. Okay, you have to give them enough to actually work with. They actually have a little screen on there in their ad manager where it shows you the size of the audience you've created. And it has a red section all the way to the left that when the needle's pointing in the red section, that means we don't have enough data. We're going to do a terrible job. At least they're telling you, by the way. But it literally is saying, we don't have enough data, so we're going to do a terrible job for you. Grayson, is it fair for me to say that's what they're saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
So did he get any actual business from all these ads?
Yes, he did. Now it's interesting. Again, this is where people begin to dice it on if they want to count it or not. But I think it worked. He thinks it worked too, by the way, for this reason, okay? He wishes he had more people down to the 3rd level. He's been frustrated how long that's taken. But the 2 pieces of business he got was from people who already knew him. And so someone else says, well, you already had them, okay? So but in reality, he didn't already have them. They had already started talking to someone else. They had forgotten about him. And they were already in the process of talking to another digital marketing company when they saw these ads and then contacted him. He actually has, I believe it's 3 people that he didn't know beforehand who are in the process, who've contacted him, and they're talking concept and stuff. So he's gotten 2 actual deals from it, and he's talking to 3 other people.
Okay, that's good. Thanks.
Okay. And if you talk to him, he is frustrated with this process because it's taking so long to get them to this level. Okay.
Well, that's just a matter of tweaking. I mean, you can work on your quality score, you can work on your call to action, you can increase the number of people you're funneling to the next level. But it takes time. You just have to. It's like cooking spaghetti.
It's a lot of work for the owner to make the videos, to make all these videos. That's the thing. They're not. You know.
Gail, let me
I
challenge
don't
you on
know.
that. It's about 9 minutes. It's not a lot of work. What takes the work is organizing it, thinking about it, brainstorming about it. If you had if I was in your office and I've gone through all of this process, I could simply say, okay, Ted, here's what I need you to do. I need you to talk about, because I'd already know some of his stories and stuff. Okay. I need you to do a 1-minute video about how you thought you were going to be a furniture maker,
Mm-hmm.
and how you ended up hating that, but now but then you went to, I forget if it was a friend or a relative, I forget, but you went to work for them in remodeling and fell in love with them. And how long would that take Ted to do? With me holding the camera, how long would it take Ted to do that video?
1 minute, but the thing is, that's just a draft, and I'm not even saying just Ted. I'm thinking about all these other owners. Like, not everyone has a Gail, so they would need to have someone
Right.
write the content, or I don't know if you guys do that, but that's
You don't write the content.
what was that?
Those are off the cuff. Those are off the cuff from the heart videos. There is no script there.
Yeah, but just like you're saying, you have to have all the background thought of someone like me that's like, okay, like saying what Grayson said, hey, tell me about her childhood thing about the cabinet maker, and then becoming a remodeler, and just coming up with that, because I'm just telling you, the most business owners don't think like that, and that this is out of their comfort zone, and they need someone that can tell them those things.
Absolutely. I mean, we do that. I mean, Josh is a client of ours, okay, which is why we have permission to use this stuff in this training. He's a client of ours. Not only did we help him come up with each of these, but we actually suggested some, like, I forget which one it is, but he has one that's actually, he goes, a business coach I have, and the business coach was me that he was talking about.
Got it. Yeah, because that would be helpful for people, because it is,
right.
It is a lot. So that's all.
Yeah.
Gail, I would also venture that business owners that are willing to step outside of their comfort zone and get out of the box are often more successful.
Oh, I totally agree. I'm just saying they have like 1,000,001 things they're doing, and
Sure.
that's why Alex, you can't be expected to have to learn all the no-nos on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, thank you, Gail, for that. And
by the way, it's 1 o'clock, Art.
I can
I know. I
relate
was waiting for
to what you said about as a business owner. I really want the message to be true, authentic, and coherent. And so that's it's a challenge to do that spontaneously off the cuff, without all sort of the thinking and that goes behind it.
Exactly. It is. It's not, I mean, you might be like Ted, he's perfectionist, so he doesn't want to, yes, he wants to be authentic like you, and most business owners,
You have to.
that's the problem. Yeah.
Right.
You have to take that need for perfection and throw it out the window.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to stop. We're at the end of it. Grayson, if you could send everybody a follow-up email when you send out the recording of this.
Yeah.
And ask, because next week is our last week. So what would be absolutely fantastic if people really gave a little thought to what they would like to have us cover next week, to make sure that we've got a bow to tie this up with.